Hi, and welcome to On the Spot. We are on location here at the Imagine Performing Arts Center. The Arts Center here in Connersville City. Perez is the president.
Yes.
How are you, Mrs. President?
I'm great, and it's great to be here with you.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. We had you on the show before talking about Imagine Performing Arts. I think close to when you guys started, which is coming up on 10 years or about 10 years.
Yes, 2014.
Wow, so gosh, 10 years. Can you believe that now you have your own building?
Our own building. We've done lots of shows and lots of events, and we just can't wait to grow more.
Yes, that's amazing. So you and I met at the Richmond Civic Theater, did some shows up there, and I know Linda Ward and Ruth Ann and John and a lot of the board members from up there. And when I moved here in 1987, the John Connors Players had just dissolved. I think just dissolved or was close around that time.
Yeah, around 89, 90.
Maybe, yeah. It had. It was close to about that time. And then there was no theater.
Right.
And then almost 25 years later, you guys had the idea to start it up again. Talk to me and walk me through the genesis of the Imagine Performing Arts.
Well, there were a lot of people in this area who liked to do theater, and we were having to drive. You know, we drove to Richmond, or we drove over to Louisville, we drove to Rushville.
Yeah, I've been to Rushville too.
And you know, when you're in rehearsal, that's a lot of late nights on the road, and the people of Connersville who wanted to see theater had to go all that distance also.
Right.
So we got together and said, why don't we start a theater here? Well, how do you do that? We don't have a building, we don't have this or that, and we just hammered it out. Figured out how you get a 501c, how you become a corporation, how you order plays and get licensing, and we figured all of that out and started to grow, and here we are.
An idea and a love for the idea is what started it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started out, and you started with the first show, I believe, was at St. Gabriel's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Importance of Being Earnest was our first scripted show.
Yeah.
And it was at the St. Gabriel's. They had already cut the heating pipes. It was March. We thought we'd be fine, but we handed out, I had a big tote full of blankets.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we handed out blankets to the audience members, and they covered themselves up.
What great to audience members to battle through the
it was wonderful.
Cold. Yeah.
You know, our very first show was at the First Presbyterian Fellowship Hall, and we set up 50 seats, and then we realized that people were coming in and we needed more seats, and we just kept pulling out chairs, and we ended up with about 100 chairs by the time the show started.
Yeah, your first show was something you guys wrote, correct? Is that
correct? That was the Hullabaloo.
That is awesome. And you guys do that pretty much every year, correct? Almost
every year. Rusty Ammerman comes down from Fort Wayne and does some illusions, and we had Ann Frost and David Frost, and they helped us, and you know, the whole group. We just had a really good time.
Yeah.
And so now it's an annual event.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and it's been sad that it's been 10 years and I haven't done anything, and I need to get involved.
I know, that is very sad. I don't know what's the matter with you, Ron.
There's something wrong with me, but I want to start getting involved now. I got to.
Okay.
I have to.
Well, we'll bring in your whole audience.
Yeah, which is not few, not 100, but we'll hopefully get more. But no, so you guys started and started off with an idea, worked your way up, started a few venues. I'm assuming that everybody was pretty receptive as far as, yes, you can use our venue. Because you were at the Roberts Building, correct, too?
Right,
as well?
right. Yeah. We were very happy to work with the park board. It changed who was on the park board and in the office and such. Changed several times while we were there. Yeah. But they're always good to work with, and we appreciated the space so much. And what a beautiful space the Roberts Building is.
Absolutely.
So, but when we would go in, we had to build a stage. We had to build the seating for the audience. We had to bring in our lights. We brought in sound. Yeah, and we'd set up on Sunday. We'd practice all week, and then we would tear down the following Sunday. And that means if you're doing a big show, like Oliver was our last big one there.
Wow.
Those kids only got to be on their set for 1 week.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And they had to help build the set too.
Right.
Yeah.
Help build it and help tear it down.
Wow.
Praise God for their parents.
Yeah.
But we're happy to be here now where we
Yeah.
can rehearse for several weeks on their set with their props.
That always makes a huge difference.
It does.
Yeah, that makes, especially as a director, to have that space, to have that time to block everything out, even though you're maybe rehearsing someplace else, it's nothing like being on that stage.
Right.
Now you have your own place. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about when you guys first started, what was your first initial vision? Just to put on shows? And build from there, or did you guys have a long-term 10-year plan, 5-year plan, or?
The first thing we wanted to do is be able to do shows. You know, be able to have people fulfill their desires to write and direct and be on stage and make costumes. I mean, there are lots of different artists involved in theater, and we wanted to give everybody that opportunity. But as we grew and we started finding all of the how difficult it was to be without a space, we started looking for a space that we could call home.
Yeah. And how? Now, when did you initially starting to look for a space?
I imagine it's been at least 8 years we've been looking. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this opened up.
We knew that the News Examiner was wanting to downsize itself. This was a big building for the 4 or 5 people they had left here in town.
And the radio station at that time had already moved.
The radio station has been gone for at least 10 years. I'm not sure exactly when they left. And then I found out that there were other entities that were very interested, already had drawings for the building, so we backed off.
Oh, really? They were? Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and then when I found out that no one was looking at the building anymore, I wrote to the headquarters for the News Examiner and said, you know how the arts changed Paducah, Kentucky, where you're headquartered. The arts brought Paducah, Kentucky back from nothing to this really bustling town. And I said, I think that we can take your building and let that legacy live here.
Yeah.
We can become the heart of Connorsville, and we can help revitalize this community. And they wrote back and said, you know, we think you're right. And we went from there. So
I love it.
They donated this building to us. It took a little while.
They donated it.
Wow,
that's incredible.
So it took a little while to get all the way through all the process, the red tape. But the last day of December 2023, we signed the papers and took this on.
Yeah, unbelievable. Now, before you signed the papers, I'm sure you guys had a tour.
Oh, yeah.
And you were visualizing, as we were when we were going through the tour. You know, Justin and I went upstairs when you took us up to the radio station.
Yeah.
The smell, it smelled just like it did when we were working at the radio station all those times. And I'm sure that the creativeness of you guys, knowing you and the people that I do on the board, everybody's ideas are flowing.
Running.
Yeah.
Because we'd always been looking for a theater. But suddenly there were 4 floors here.
Right.
4,000 square feet on first, second, and fourth, and 2,000 square feet on the 3rd floor. And with all of that space, that's more than we needed as a theater. And so we started envisioning bigger things for our community, more arts. And we want to move into the 21st century. So what does that mean? Well, how do we bring digital into this? And how do we reach a new audience? And you know, the biggest complaint in Connorsville? There is nothing to do. That you hear it again
all the time,
and again.
over and over again. Yeah, over and over, nothing to do. And the ideas that you shared with us that we're going to talk about, it's like, wow, there's no reason why this cannot happen. You know, the event center that you talked about is more than just plays that you talked about. Share some of the ideas that you guys have with not just plays here, but you're talking about incorporating the community where people can get involved and they don't have to be involved in theater. Right.
I'm just going to walk you through what I think right now the plans are, is that this floor, the side of the first floor that we're on, will become a black box theater.
Love that.
Yeah, so you'll walk in, there'll be seats here, there'll be a stage there and backstage. On the far side will be a flex space, so we can have classes and lessons and seminars and If someone wants to have a wedding reception, they could have it there.
Wow.
If someone wants to do corporate training, they could do it there. So we have all of that. In the back is a very large space. Talked to a couple of different organizations in town that would love to teach folks how to cook.
Yes. Yes.
You know, we have Gleaners that comes into town, and we have several food pantries, but they can put together a food box, but not everyone knows how to cook pasta or rice or potatoes. So
to stretch that food box out to multiple meals. Yeah.
So if we could have an area where people could learn how to do that, and maybe we can hook in with the farmers market, which is across the street. That brings in a whole other group of people, and culinary arts are an art.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and this is going to sound crazy, but when we did some of the stuff for the news journal over there at the arts, culinary arts, duh. I didn't realize that until Linda was talking to me about it, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Culinary arts. Yeah. I just eat.
You just enjoy the fruits of their labor.
The fruits of their labor, absolutely, I do. So and that's good that you incorporate that because that's educational.
Yes.
People get value out of it, and again, it would introduce them to the art scene. Because I've often told people that I like going to movies, but there's nothing like watching a play.
Right.
And it's even better being in one.
Well, it only happens once. If you're there, you miss it.
Exactly, and
I mean, that's what I love about it. That's what I love about it.
You get that human interaction, especially if you're sitting really close, and you can see, you see the actor's eyes, you see the pain, or you see the joy, or you see you feel the emotion. I always tell everybody, and I talked to Rusty about this. I was like, I'm an illusionist too.
A different kind.
Yeah. I make people pretend that I'm mad or I'm angry or I'm happy or sad or whatever. That's my trick. Play pretend. That's all it is playing pretend, and it's so fun. And I would encourage anybody who wants to act or to play pretend to get a hold of this lady because and behind the scenes stuff's important too. You helped me get to be director. Yeah. Yeah, because
you were my assistant.
Yeah, and that got me into that, and that's I don't know what I like better. I'm not sure which one I like better. It's a lot of fun, and that's what this place has for everyone. If you like behind the scenes stuff, if you like to be in like me, I like to be on stage too. One thing I like about, and this is why I'm crazy, why I haven't gotten involved is that you guys had something recently where you had 8-minute plays.
Yes. Well, they weren't 8 minutes. They were 10 to 20 minutes.
10 to 20. Okay.
10 to 20 minutes. Short plays.
Short plays. And you incorporated people from all over the country.
We put out the call for short shows. Yeah. And we got plays from all over the world.
That's even better.
Yeah. We did one of them from Australia. We had one from New Zealand the last time that we had done that. But we get them from Canada. We get them from across Europe.
This wasn't something you guys, when you thought back in 2013, 14, when this started going up, you didn't think, hey, we're going to have people send us plays from Australia.
No, when we did the first short show, we really were thinking regional and that they would come be at rehearsals and we'd have all this collaboration. But when we got them from around the world, it was such an opportunity that we were excited. We're still excited. We love doing those shows.
And you're going to be doing that again?
Yes, every 2 years.
I'm going to start writing.
Yes, please do.
I've got so much stuff. I got to be done. I'll start looking at something going, I got to change that, It's got to be done. I need to send it to you.
Yeah.
And you just, okay. Anyway.
Okay. So on the second floor, when we go upstairs, what used to be the radio station, hopefully that will become very much a music center. Okay. So our community band, our community choir, once we have a lift or an elevator, they'll start meeting and rehearsing up there. All of our music lessons, piano lessons, guitar lessons, all of that will happen up there, voice lessons. Then we'd like to have a recording studio for musicians, a podcast studio, a VCast studio.
Yeah, and that when you talk about, because we have a lot of recording artists here in town.
We do.
In the area. I mean, I got a buddy of mine down in Franklin County. He's very good, and it's just amazing that this would be something that could be offered here in this town.
Right.
And the quality of it, it's something that you would have to go to Indianapolis or the bigger cities to get. And it's going to be right here in this community.
When Angel and I moved here back from New York in '93, we were amazed. We called it the underground art movement in Connersville because everywhere we went, we met someone who was an artist, but nobody else knew it.
Yeah.
And you'd go into their studio, or their basement or a room in their garage or something, and there'd be beautiful paintings, or they would sing you a song they wrote. And it's amazing how much talent is in this area.
Yeah. And it's going to be highlighted here. Yeah. So the second floor is dedicated just to the music.
Where the radio station is.
Okay,
because it's soundproofed.
That's right.
Now there's 3 offices in the front. The one office will be for IPA.
Okay.
Then the other 2 we want to turn into a small business hub. So we would like entrepreneurs to have a space where they could meet with their clients or come into town if they live out of town and don't have good internet service. Or, have a conference room available.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's something we don't have here. If you have to meet with your client right now, you have to go to a fast food restaurant or someplace because there's no place for you to sit down and have a conversation with your client.
Yeah.
So we're kind of excited about that. I think it will be a shot in the arm for entrepreneurs that have a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So second floor, multiple use.
Yes.
Which the creative minds, use a multiple use. But now we're on the third floor, which I'd never been to the third floor.
Third floor is a half floor.
Half floor, right.
It's a half floor because some other time we'll talk about the history of this building. And that second floor was a big open public theater with a stage at the end.
I remember the stage because that's a huge. That's right, because that wall on the stage is huge. I think it goes to the very top.
Yeah. Well, no. Actually, there's space above that as well.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So it's probably 26 feet maybe from the floor to the ceiling.
It's huge, yeah.
But it was open, and they had tables. They had 2 kitchens up there, and they did public shows and served food. It was awesome.
That on the third floor?
No, that's the second floor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's why the third floor is a half a floor. I think it probably was a balcony. I know that it was Oddfellows Lodge space when it was first made in 1901. It also, I believe, has been a music studio and a dance studio.
Wow.
And then on the 4th floor, there's a beautiful room that will be a reception area with frescoes on the walls. It has frescoes on the walls.
Yes.
So maybe we'll be able to restore or recreate those.
Yeah.
And then on the back side is a beautiful, large, I believe 46 by 52 ballroom.
Yes, when you were talking about that upstairs, that was absolutely. I started envisioning.
Yeah,
I knew I was hearing. I kept just going through my head of what it would and it's limitless what you guys can do up there.
I think it's going to be an event center. I think you can have prom up there.
Yes, absolutely.
Or you could have
an after prom, anything. Yeah,
a wedding.
Yes,
we could do bigger shows up there.
Yeah, absolutely. See, that's when you talked about this space. I kept going with the idea that you get the black box here, you get the big theater up there. I mean, there's so many. This place is so useful for.
Right.
The black boxy type people, the traditional musicals. I mean, wow, this is amazing.
And then we have 2 buildings in the back.
That's what I was going to say. We have the 2 buildings in the back.
One's 4,800 square feet, and the other one is 1,700 square feet. 4,800 square feet we're going to make into the set shop, but also a maker space. So people who make things or want to make things, want to be able to weld and cut wood and do that. We're going to have space for them to come and do and invent and be creative back there.
That's wow.
Yeah. So it's exciting. We've got a lot of things planned.
It is, because when you talked about in the beginning, and we've heard this all, there's nothing to do. And even before you left for New York to come back, I'm sure you heard it when you were a kid. There's nothing to do in Connersville. And you come back, there's nothing to do in Connersville. Well, now there's going to be something to do.
And the thing is, there's always things to do in
Connersville. There always is, yes.
But we're going to give people a space to do new things.
Yeah.
And learn new things.
Fun things. Educational things. Things that we can take with us.
Things you can do. Things you can come be entertained by.
Yes.
I'm very excited about the opportunities that lay here.
I do too. Again, going with you upstairs and not only seeing and sparking my creative juices, but just seeing your love and your passion for it. That makes me more excited because you're the president.
Yeah.
And if you're excited about this, I can imagine, knowing Ruth Ann, knowing John, knowing Linda. I can just imagine the excitement that they all have for.
Well, and Gilda
this.
Lewis,
Gilda,
and
of
Carla
course,
Beard, and
Carla Beard, yeah.
my husband Angel.
I love Angel. Yeah, he's a
Belinda and
beautiful
Ron
man.
Foreman,
Yeah.
Steve Harmon. I mean, we have a really good group.
Wonderful people.
Would you like to hear about what's coming up?
Absolutely. See, you're leading me. 'Cause I'm still thinking, please tell us what's coming up.
Okay. Well,
You're doing my job.
I
You're
am doing
such a
your
great
job. I think by the time this airs, our Lost and Found Storytelling Night's going to be gone. It is April the 7th.
Yes.
But then in May, when they do Celebration in the Ville, we're going to have tours. And so on each floor, we'll have actors in costume, in historical costume, talking about the history of the building.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, people that make it all the way to the 4th floor, I have a very special gift for them. So if they make it all the way to the 4th floor, they get a gift that says, hey, I made it to see the stained glass windows that are on the 4th.
I almost made it up there. Well, I did, but
You did make it up there.
Yeah, it hurt though.
We only had to carry you one floor.
Yeah, but that's okay though. At least I got up there.
Yeah.
Now, are you planning on doing this any other time?
No, that's the only one we have planned for that.
Okay.
We are doing a murder mystery with the Zeta Bag Luncheon in June. We're doing the Discover Kids at the park.
Okay. And when's that?
I'm not sure what the dates are on that.
Okay.
Because they run all summer long.
Oh, right. Sure. Yeah.
And we'll do 1 week in there.
Okay.
And then in July, we had the Hullabaloo, which is the show that we write.
Right.
Rusty's coming down from Fort Wayne.
I love Rusty.
The Arthritics, our older gentlemen who do a bit, they're going to be in it. We're writing
awesome.
the skits right now and trying to gather other performers for that show.
Yeah.
And then I believe we're doing 2 murder mysteries on the train this summer.
Oh, that'd be good.
We're in talks to possibly do a teen musical at the end of the summer. We're doing Fractured Fairy Tales for the young kids, which is not a haunted house, but a fun house.
Yeah, I think I've heard
We did that once
like
before.
Yeah, okay, I thought it said, yeah.
We'll do that in October. We're looking for another show for November, December. And then, I can't remember. We have something next February, and then in March, we're going to do Esther for Such a Time as This.
Oh, wow.
It was written by Dennis Phelps, and we're going to present that here.
And that's what I love about here, is the fact that you guys you take original works.
Yes.
And that's how people get started. That's how, because it used to be where you had to send your stuff out and then they would publish it. Now they want you to have your stuff done before
produced.
Produced. And nobody wants to do that, because if it's not known, they're not going to make any money. And so, but it's good that you guys are taking that chance, because I love that. I just love it.
How do you learn if you don't have the opportunity to do your thing?
Yeah,
we want everyone to come and do their thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that opens it up. When you talk about being like Paducah, how are we going to get people into Connersville if, I mean, you had people from around the world submit something.
I know.
That's amazing. And I mean, I'm sure when you guys were sitting around dreaming this up, you never thought that you'd get something from Canada, Australia, and here we are now having this whole building, and just imagine what it's going to look like in a couple of years.
I know, and this whole arts district is going to just begin to flourish. We've got the Art Association next door, and there's us. We have John's Brothers right down the street, and then we have the new marketplace place where they're going to sing and have shows there. So we're just going to have a whole arts district right here, right by the courthouse.
And Brian's has supported.
And Brian's is wonderful,
Yeah, and so it's just this is going to be the new Broadway.
Oh, there you go.
I think
the
so.
new Broadway.
The new Broadway. We were Little Detroit at one time.
Yeah,
we were
Little Broadway.
There we go. Little Broadway right here in Connersville. So if somebody wants to get involved, because I'm sure you guys are still looking for volunteers to help renovate this. Fundraisers. You're looking for.
We're going to have fundraisers.
Yeah.
We're going to have a capital campaign.
Yeah.
I think all told, by the time we finish the 4th floor and get elevators in and all that, we're probably at about $3.5 million. We're going to end up putting into this free building.
Yeah. Yeah. It's free. However. Yeah.
And we've almost got all the trash out. We're still trashing it out. But I think that we're going to need the whole community involved. We want buy-in from everybody because this is your space as well as our space. They can email me at imagineperformingarts@yahoo.com. That's the same address, imagineperformingarts.com.
Right, yeah.
Is our website. We're on Facebook. I would say that the fastest updates come on Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. And I get the newsletter that Carla puts out every month.
Yes.
So that's a good way to get involved. And I forget how I signed up for that.
Well, maybe in person, but maybe at Facebook, maybe at our, maybe on our site. Any of those places you can ask to be on the mailing list.
Yes.
We're on Instagram. That name is Imagine at the 406.
406.
Yeah, 406 building.
I love that. That's a great name.
Imagine at the 406.
Imagine at the 406. And again, I would encourage anybody who has a dream that, man, I want to act, or I want to write, or I want to send your stuff in, be a part of this. Work backstage. It's fun to work backstage.
It's great to work backstage. We have a blast.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I
we prank the actors.
You have to. You have to. I mean, it's. I can go on about some things that Ruth Ann and I have on stage before. It's and in learning from you, you're one of the best lighters.
Oh, thank you.
I've never had you light my show. She's never cast me, by the way. I've auditioned for you.
You were my
multiple
assistant
times.
director for a show.
You helped me do that. So you kept me.
Yeah.
No, I remember the one time, the last one, you felt so bad you didn't cast me because I was too old for the part. And
happens.
It happens, and that does. But you know what? That's what happens. You audition for a show. I didn't have the part when I walked in, and I'm certainly not going to lose sleep if I don't get the part. I just cried in the sleep. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
But that happened. But
Felt
anyway,
so bad.
No, gosh, no, don't please. I was just giving you a hard time. It was a fun experience working with you, and I would encourage anybody to come down here if you want to learn. This is the lady to learn from, Linda, Carla. The list goes on and on to learn from great people here at Imagine Performing Arts. Again, I'm giving advice. What advice do you have for people?
I would say look at your dreams and then follow them.
Yeah.
And we are here to support you and to help those dreams come true.
And it's not just acting, it's music.
It's music, it's public speaking, it's maybe you're just bored and you want to come do ballroom dancing, or you want to come and see a comic night or an improvisation night. I mean, we really want to encompass it all.
And you don't have to be young to have that dream.
Oh, heavens, no.
No,
right. This is for everyone. I mean, we want to reach from, the very young that we can do, some creative art therapy with.
Right.
To, seniors that, I'm sorry, but if you're over 60 in this town, it can be a little bit boring.
Right,
so,
exactly. Get down here.
We want to give you something to do.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about when you talked about the art therapy, there's nothing like writing for therapy. There's nothing like playing pretend for therapy. The escapism of the arts is what gets people out of addictions. It's what gets people out of depression. It's what helps people get through life at times. And this place, Imagine at the 406, Imagine Performing Arts, helps people in such ways that you can only imagine unless you get down here. And so that's
imagine what you can do.
Imagine what you can do. Absolutely. Yeah. So we got about a minute to go, Cindy. Any final words and how can people, again, one more time, get a hold of you?
Okay, I'm going to give you all the addresses.
Yes.
The email, imagineperformingarts@yahoo.com. The website, imagineperformingarts.com. The Facebook is Imagine Performing Arts at Facebook. I don't know. Just look it up with the little magnifier. Instagram we are Imagine at the 406. And you can find me up at American Heritage Realty. Just call me up there, and I'll get you in touch with whoever you need to be in touch with. Or if you see us in here, knock on the door. Come on in. We'd love to have your help.
Cindy Perez, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. You're one of my favorite people.
Thank you,
I want you to know.
Ron.
Thank you very much.
Loved having you here.
Absolutely. Thank you. And tell everybody hi, and we'll definitely see you next month on the spot.
Very good.